Alright, welcome back everyone. Today I'm on location at Aullwood Audubon Center and Farm here in Dayton, Ohio in Montgomery County. And it's a place that's rich in natural history and human history as well. So it actually gets its name, Aullwood, from the married couple that actually used to live on these grounds by the Stillwater River. And they were John and Marie Aull. And they became known as their legacy with owning this land, and they pretty much preserved it for many, many decades throughout their lifetime. John actually passed away quite a long time ago from now, but like much earlier than Marie did. But Marie has preserved the legacy here. There's lots of prairie and meadow habitat that she bought land. She basically bought the land and kept it and just preserved it for many years. And they were both pretty well known, at least now they are, naturalists. They just always had a big fascination with nature and just different, just anything about nature, the wildlife. Lots of birds here, different kinds of mammals, obviously wildflowers, and hopefully later on I get to share with you Aullwood Garden, which is right next to the house that they actually lived at, which is pretty cool. They get to, it's open to the public and you get to see it whenever, all times of year. So the only thing about this visit in particular is just because now that we're kind of in winter, it's going to be a little more difficult to photograph wildflowers. And so the prairie, at least at first glance, and the meadows might look like there's really nothing there, and it's leaves a little to be desired. But that's okay because there's still lots of different kinds of sparrows and pretty much birds in particular, and especially sparrows in prairie and meadow habitat. They're going to be a lot easier to see just because they're a lot more visible without all the different foliage and wildflowers in the way. So yeah, there'll definitely be a lot of subjects I think here today that we can focus on and photograph, fortunately. Definitely think I might lean towards more of the wildlife side of things, but we'll just see. Might even get some landscapes in there, just because the lighting right now is pretty good. It's overcast. There's lots of heavy cloud cover, which will probably be persistent throughout the entire day here at our visit. And that means that you pretty much, luckily, you can photograph all day in this pretty nice looking light that just won't wash out, won't blow out highlights, and it's just not harsh. So it should be a good day out. Now Aullwood's an interesting kind of place simply because it's open block of window time typically on a weekday is about 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And so that means sunrise and sunsets are usually out of the question, just because you have to get here at this certain the kind of block of window of time, which is, it's okay, but like I said, I'm probably going to focus more on birds today, just for that reason, since there really won't be a sunrise or sunset landscape composition in mind. But it's a gorgeous place. There's lots of different scenery. Like I said earlier, there's a Stillwater River that flows right through this part of the area, so we get to look forward to seeing that. I believe there's some boardwalk loops around the area because there's different kind of wetland and marshy kind of wetwood habitat around as well. Now Aullwood is touted as a nature sanctuary. It's about just around 200 acres, so it's not terribly big, but there is an admission fee for adults. All different age groups, but for a typical adult, like I guess me, it's about $10. So yeah, there's an entry fee, but I definitely think it's well worth the visit if you're in the area of Ohio. And it's just a gorgeous place. It's great examples of different areas of natural history, and just even if you don't know much, you can still learn stuff on your way. The Audubon Center itself, the little facility there, has some gorgeous just displays of both for kids and adults, just learning about different bird species in particular, but it goes over everything in terms of nature that you may find here as well. And then they have an amazing gift shop as well if you're into that. So it's just a great place to learn about ecology, biology, and just everything of that sorts. And it's a place that I definitely want to come to more and more, and go birding for, or just go on a nice simple walk, because it is a nice peaceful area, fortunately. Now while the Audubon Center and Farm is its own it's kind of separate entity that has the admission fee, there's actually another smaller portion that is the Aullwood Garden, where the house is originally located, and that's actually free. So in terms of trails and the difficulty, it's mostly flat, I'd say. It's pretty easy terrain that I feel like most people are capable of traversing pretty much any time of year. Most of the trails, I think there's about 6 of them, They're different color code ones, and they have different names. All of them are pretty much under a mile. So, like I said, this 200 acres, it's not too big of a place. I've definitely been the larger ones where I've had to cover a lot more ground and make a video and story like this and get some photographs all at the same time. So I'm hoping, I'm going to get my money's worth and stay here the entire day until close, and we'll just make the most of it, really. Fortunately, we might even have some time to kind of backtrack and take our time more and just really think about compositions or really focus on the birds. As I'm looking over here at some birds are great, I'll tell you what. But yeah, this is a beautiful Audubon Center over here, and I'm really, I don't know, I'm just excited. Let's just get started. Alright, so I know I talked about doing birds mainly today. I might do that later. We'll see here. I've been hearing different kinds of songbirds. And then, yeah, I just might pull out the big telephoto. Can't guarantee it. But I did find, obviously since Aullwood runs, the Stillwater River runs right through Aullwood here, there's going to be many different little stream and creek crossings, such as the one right beside me here. And so I wanted to try on the wide angle here, wide angle zoom lens. So I got a Canon 16-35 f4. It's got image stabilization, ultra silent motor, which means the drive motor when it focuses is very, very silent, which is great for video making and for photo taking, which means the mirror, the camera mirror doesn't, it has lock up, so it really minimizes camera shake there and vibrations and reduces all that. So I'm trying it at 35 millimeters here. I got some different settings. Right now I'm at 40th of a second, f14 and ISO 800. I'm probably going to adjust those a little bit more. But right now I'm just kind of composing the scene. I'm using the zoom lens, the focal length and the range that I have, and just trying it on. But I think 35 millimeters with this full frame lens on a crop sensor body, camera body, I feel like it's going to provide just enough, let enough light, and it's going to look pretty nice. And not only that, but I'm actually going to put on a polarizer filter, circular polarizer filter. And so I got my little filter bag here that holds these filters. And for this lens in particular, the filter size, which is typically on the front of the lens, near the glass, it shows you the size of the filters you need to get, so you can get compatible ones. There are step-up filters and rings that pretty much mount. They're like mount adapters that you can put that make them more compatible. But I don't really use those, or I never have really, honestly, just because they can cause vignetting, which is something that obviously I don't want to do in this case. So I got a polarizer filter in here. I'm going to slap that thing on there, and we'll see how the image looks. I think it'd be a nice little, small, kind of intimate landscape, long exposure. I'm not really thinking it's going to be, obviously it's not going to be anything, bombastic or huge like a waterfall, but I feel like it's going to be a nice image though, overall. So I'm going to take the shot here and then see how it looks. Alright, so I failed to mention previously, but there's been some patches of fog here. It's a pretty dense fog, honestly. On my drive here, there's almost like zero visibility. It was really hard to see, but that means now with photography that it just opens up all these different creative avenues of different kinds of landscapes and such to work with as well. There's also such thing as like hoarfrost on the leaves here, on the ground. I'm just seeing it kind of everywhere. It's basically froze over, and it made all this different frost lining on pretty much any object that's outdoors, which makes, once again, just some really creative things that I'm really not used to. I don't have too much experience, at least yet, photographing in fog or any kind of dense weather conditions like this, but it just makes for really kind of almost eerie, but very beautiful and calm at the same time. It's just this very chaotic mix of just soothing and just lots going on, and I'm trying to make sense of it with the camera here and trying to make the best images possible of just the landscape before me. I've been so far sticking to a wide angle lens. I got my Canon 16-35mm f4 on here, and I've been finding it works really, really well just to pick apart details like this. For a while there, when the sun really just broke through the clouds, I was getting kind of concerned about just if this would be another kind of bland light type of day. where I wasn't too sure if I'd find any subjects here, even though Aullwood's not really a place I'm too familiar with, at least yet as well. But this fog just really added this different kind of curveball, where I can really open up different compositions, just really focusing kind of more on the mood and the emotion of the intensity of the entire scene here in the woodland. And I'm just really thinking that the best thing right now is just to stick to landscapes. The birds are will be very hard to see. I'm definitely hearing them all around it still, but I just feel like I'm really just going to stick to landscapes. Maybe even try on tacking on the small telephoto and see how that works. And I bet even getting at the fog here, getting some maybe some abstracts or different kinds of just different little creative blurs, anything of that sort. So yeah, we're just gonna see here what I come up with. I'm hoping for the best though, and thinking something good might come to this. So far it looks really promising, and the fog looks like it's going to stay around for a while, at least I hope. Yeah, it's just really beautiful, honestly. So yeah, I'm gonna get started. So like I mentioned before, fog is really, for me at least, all about conveying kind of the mood and the mystery of the entire scene in front of you. And like any good photograph really is, you want to kind of paint with the emotions and just make something that really kind of strikes the viewer in a certain way. Maybe makes them ponder or feel, kind of provokes their thoughts a little bit more to really think about, where, why, when, just, the whole reason why you photographed it. So anyways, in this case, right here, I have this woodland scene. It's pretty typical, but it has a winding path with all these giant, these thin white looking trees here, and they're just kind of dotting the whole entire landscape. And I actually noticed how the path is pretty much the opposite, where it's like a darker, almost black color, with all these different just old dead leaves. They're just covering it. So I just like the duality of those colors. And then there's also some oranges and browns, obviously, throughout the entire scene here. And I just really like how it looks. I tried out with a horizontal composition. I find it works decently, but I'm going to try here in a second and see if a vertical looks any better. And just really kind of emphasizes really more of the path here. I'm thinking the vertical would really emphasize the path more, and the horizontal shows off more of the tree detail. And so it's really just, it's composition essentially. It's pretty much finding a creative choice, finding what works for you, and what the artist's intentions were for the photograph. So the fog finally lifted for the morning. I had about a good hour or two to really just kind of work with it. Got a handful of shots. I'm hoping they turn out well. Obviously you see at the end of this video. But now I'm actually on this observation deck that's overlooking the entire prairie. And so this time of year it looks kind of bland and kind of samey. The colors are just kind of, they're all kind of just browns and tans and, overall beige. But there's probably definitely a lot of sparrows down there that I could check out. There's also naturally a lot of nest boxes that have been erected that are all throughout pretty much line the entire trails throughout this prairie. And this is a nice big size one. I really like the look of it, but it's usually more lively and colorful, typically in the spring and summer times of the year. overall, it's just such a bummer that the fog finally lifted. I really wish I had more time with it, but I guess it just it goes to show that you really just need to make the most of it while it's here and work with the weather conditions. So now we're back to this just kind of straight, solid blue sky, and the sun's already directly overhead for the day, which is a little unfortunate. So basically, it means my photography is kind of limited now, a lot more. Definitely, probably I won't be doing as many landscapes now, unfortunately. So yeah, I just might stick to birds now, or I might just do some more intimate landscapes at least that don't really incorporate the entire, the wide-angle scene and the sun, the direct, harsh light above. But yeah, still have quite a bit of trail to cover here, and so I'm looking forward to it. But for now, I'm just gonna kind of overlook the deck here and see how the prairie's doing, because it's a pretty nice view up here. Something. So basically the whole entire bluegill pond here has been frozen over. I really didn't think about it, didn't cross my mind when I was coming along here on the trail, but I mean, I'm not surprised. So it's entirely frozen over. It has all these different, leaves, everything that's trapped underneath, and it's just barely obscured through all the different ice here. And I just really like the blue colors, the very cool colors of the ice itself, and then got all these different brown and kind of warmer tones of the leaves underneath. And then not only that, but there's also these weird, I don't know what you call them. They're like tree roots or something, just kind of like jutting out from different like chunks of the leaves here. So I'm guessing it's branches, probably like tree branches. So I just really like the way it looks, like almost like, I don't know how else to describe it, but like bloodshot eyes. It has that kind of just veiny kind of spiral. It just kind of shoots out. I don't even know what to describe it as, but it has a really cool look to it. Something a little different. I haven't seen like a frozen pond or lake like this before. So I'm going to try once again a landscape here with a wide angle lens and see how it turns out. I might even put on a polarizer filter, but first I'm going to use no filters, and that should help with knocking out reflections and all that sorts. But even right here, I can see there's some little tree twigs they kind of managed to stay above the frozen part of the pond here. And so yeah, it has a really beautiful look to it. Honestly, I'm kind of thinking just right now, just kind of working the scene, at least in my head, and just think of different ideas and stuff to really just kind of throw around. And then once I kind of feel like some ideas are kind of more fleshed out, then that's when I grab the camera and start composing the scene. Adjusting settings and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna photograph this kind of cool blue sheen on the bluegill pond here, and just see what comes of it. So let's see what we got here. Alright guys, unfortunately that's going to conclude today's video, but I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching if you watched all the way through to the end here. I just want to point out, actually behind me though, one more thing here. This is actually the house where the Aulls lived at, John and Marie Aull, and lived in it practically all their life. And I know John was a big proponent of keeping this land free and leaving it to the public, especially after they both passed. And so that's pretty much how it is now, and luckily so people can explore it as they please, and they can enjoy different natural and ecological benefits of just nature and all the stuff that's around here. In my case, photography, of course. So yeah, today it's been a pretty good day. I think overall pretty successful. We shot various different kind of landscapes, some with like fog, attempted some water long exposure. We'll see how those go. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. So thank you so much for watching. This has been Aullwood Gardens and Audubon Center. And until next time, make sure to get out here. Thank you.